Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Small Business Chronicles. This is going to be a little bit different because this is going to be a Q&A. People have written questions in the comments to the videos. Again, thank you all for watching, and I'm going to go ahead and answer them today. But before I do that, please remember, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the like button because that helps a lot too, and ring that bell, right, to get notifications. All right, so here we go. And some Q&As. And again, I just took the questions from the comments, I put them up here, and we will get to it. So the first question is, this comes from Jose. How did you choose your location? Now, again, as I said, I got a lot of information from Snakes and Lattes because Steve Tassi made videos, again, about how to help people with their board game cafes. I highly recommend that series he did. It's very professional, very well done, answers a lot of questions, but he did have a video on location. Now, Jose, the problem with that is it's going to be different for different locations, right? For example, if you're like Greg May, who owns the Uncommons and Hex in New York City, you might want to consider being next to a subway station, right? Because it's transportation in a big city. If you live out in a small town with 15,000 people, maybe you want to be next to a road. You know what I mean? I don't know, like if people are only going to get there by driving. If you live in a city like us, Las Vegas, with no underground transportation, but does have a very good bus system, I made sure I was next to a bus line. And I also am located right in the center of the valley with easy access to both to the two major highways, the 15 and the 215. So for people driving, no matter where they're coming from in the valley, they have easy access to get here. So that was a big, important factor in me determining location for Meepleville. As far as, so easy access, I would say, is one. Again, regardless if you're in the big city like New York, near a subway, rural town, mid-city like Las Vegas, easy access, whether it's by car to highways or public transportation. Now, as far as the actual location of the store itself, and what I mean by that is I am located in a big walking outside shopping center. We have a couple of big anchors like TJ Maxx, Ross. We have a big supermarket. We have DD's, Burke's, pizza parlors, quite a few, big anchor stores, and then me, like a little store. But I have plenty of parking, which is nice. I'm right on the corner of a major highway. You can get traffic counts from the city or on the internet. There's like 80,000 cars per day at my intersection. So, that was important too. You want to make sure you have pylon signage out in the street, get your name up there so people as they're driving or walking by can see it. So yeah, some cafes I've seen in many different spots. Again, Uncommons in New York is in a hip area of New York City, down near Columbia, I believe it is. Yes, Washington Square Park. Very nice. I'm in the center of the valley, just in a shopping plaza. What is it? The one in California, the Game House in Glendale. Beautiful, just neighborhood in a historic kind of building. So it just varies for wherever you are, and there are a lot of considerations that need to be brought into that. So just make sure as you're doing your research, you got to pick a good spot because that all comes into it. But anyway, Jose, thank you for the question. Next is from Sean. How essential is the retail side relative to the cafe side? Again, in my model, the retail side and the cafe side both account for between 50-60% of the gross revenue. Some that are just bars, of course, that F&B, the food and beverage, the bars are going to be more. The food is going to be more. I haven't really seen a board game cafe that is kind of just retail and the admission to get in. So I don't know if that model is out there. It may be. I'd like to see if it is. But I think it's essential, especially if you have the kind of place where you want people to stay for a long time to play, because they're going to want to snack, they're going to want to drink, they're going to want to eat for the food and beverage. And the same thing for the retail. I think it's a fantastic upsell. Again, my retail, I could be a small game store. I have a pretty big retail section. However, you don't need to. Just have the basics. But again, it's a great way for an upsell. When people play these games for several hours, they love it. It'd be nice for them as they're walking out to be like, hey, I can buy that game? Yes, you can. Have them pick it up, buy it, and take it home. So I think it's imperative that you have at least a small retail if you're just going to be more on the F&B and then the charge for admission. So in my case, as I said, they account for anywhere between 50 to 60% of the gross revenue, those two combined. Thank you, Sean. Next is another one from Jose. What marketing tools, processes you invested in once you had that aha moment? Well, Jose, this is going to be another strip naked bare moment because still, even to this day, I will just admit I am not good at marketing. Now, one of my big problems is, and again, remember how I had said in the first video to have those conversations with yourself, be honest with yourself. And I really mean that. Know your weaknesses, know your strengths, but be honest. I don't do social media. And unfortunately, me not doing it and my ignorance of it when I first opened, I did not realize how much social media is part of a lot of people's lives because it wasn't part of mine. So it's something I like I said, I still struggle with. I have a hard time doing Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. I don't know. There's dozens of them, whatever. And I should, right? I probably should. But again, that's money, that's cost to get somebody to invest the time and effort to do that. Because, back in my day growing up, I was always in the school of thought, going to school, learning lessons, taking business classes from the old days. Phone book, right? Everybody had stuff in the yellow pages, newspapers, telephone. So, I'm like a dinosaur. So it's hard for me to get into the new thing. And another thing which I discovered, which again is just a lack of ignorance, I just assumed everybody did stuff on a laptop or a computer. So when I was building a website or putting stuff up, I wasn't really too concerned about the mobile friendly version. Like what they can see. I never checked. I was like, who cares? Let them look it up on their laptop. They should. Again, there we go. Ignorance, because I don't do it. It's not part of my life. How many people use their mobile phones is astounding. I did not know that. So again, make sure all of your marketing, social media, website, everything is mobile friendly, optimized. Very important. But yeah, so the internet, there's a lot of free stuff, Jose. For example, Google. Man, if you really learn Google, I had this free session with Google. They spent 2 hours on the phone with me 2 different times, talked to me, helped me to realize this stuff. Man, there's a lot of free marketing you can get out of Google. Facebook. I use a lot of Facebook ads. So I do pay for that. Not a ton, but I do pay for that. Google has the ads. I know you can pay for Instagram, things like that. So yeah, I still have a very non-existent, very small marketing budget. But and now with COVID, it's kind of shut down. I'll have to reevaluate that when we reopen. I mean, full force. But yeah, so I never really had that aha moment. I mean, I always knew it. I just was really ignorant of a lot of it. So I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit. There we go. Thanks, Jose. Next is from Anthony. Did I do a study of the market for board game cafes and location before opening to ensure the demand was present? And again, folks, that's not a baby back there screaming. That is my cat, the world's loudest cat. So she just woke up from a nap, and yeah, she's going to be wanting some attention. Anyway, that's what that is. No, I did not do a study of the market for board game cafes, because how can you really when there wasn't? I was the first one in the entire state, right? I've only been open 5 years now, but still 5 years ago, they were still a relatively new concept. I mean, Snakes and Lattes opened in 2010, so that's only been 10 years that they've been open, and they kind of, started the boom. They claim to be the first in North America. There may have been 1 or 2 others, but it's still a relatively new industry. So it's kind of hard to say even now that you can really do a market study of it. You can try, because again, as I said in one of my other videos, cafes, food and beverage, that still works. You know that does. Game stores, retail still works. And then people just going out for entertainment, whether it's a movie, whether it's mini golf, whether it's anything, that still works too. So that's what I feel my business is, right? As I told you, 3 revenue streams, retail, food and beverage, entertainment, those all exist anyway. So I just don't see any reason why a board game cafe could not be successful pretty much anywhere. So I hope that answers your question a little bit, Anthony. Next, we have from Giacomo, and I hope I'm saying that right. Please forgive me if I'm not. How did you decide to reduce the opening times that much from 10 to 1 to the current schedule, aside from being tired? So here is another important thing that everybody should pay attention to, and that is having a proper POS that gives you analytics, all right? Because I wanted to be open from 10 to 1 because, first of all, I said to myself, hey, if I'm paying rent 24 hours a day, I want to try to maximize and capitalize as much of that time as possible for potential revenue. So that's why I did it initially. Also, I wanted to stay open late because I noticed every time I would go to like a game group and stuff before I had the cafe, we always wanted to play late, stay late, right? You get into your games, you stay. So I wanted that for people. And since Vegas is a 24/7 town, literally, where people, have all different shifts because of the casinos and all that kind of stuff, I wanted to open relatively early to maybe catch people who are getting off work at 8, 9 in the morning, to be able to come in and play some games for a while. But I looked at analytics, and that's why I was saying it's important about the POS so you can look at the back office when revenue is coming in, what it's doing. So I went from 10 to 1 that I initially opened, but then I noticed that from 10 to basically 5 was not that much revenue. It was, because I paying myself was technically free, but if I had to put somebody in there or all that, there just wasn't enough revenue coming in at that time. So for a while, I didn't even open until 4. And then after the second or third year, and then I cut back to midnight, I said, you know what, for the holiday season, for November and December, I'm going to open at noon to try to catch the holiday shopping. And I saw, this is pretty possible, profitable, pretty feasible. So I went ahead and did it, because I had to staff it and all that kind of stuff. And it just caught on. So I stayed from 12 to 12. But as far as the POS and the analytics, okay, now, as I said, very important, because I noticed, especially at nighttime, right, by 9 o'clock, I would say, all my revenue is I've gotten all my revenue. I mean, from like 9 to 12 or 9 to 1, there's like no revenue. So being open at that point is more or less a convenience for my customers, because I'm not really generating that much revenue because they're there earlier. They've bought their food, they've eaten, people have come and bought games and go home, but there's not a lot of revenue generated after that. Sometimes when people are done playing games, 10, 30, 11, they'll always come and look before they leave and stuff. So yeah, there will be that, but we close our kitchen earlier because, again, we've seen that, wow, after 9:30, 10 o'clock or whatever it is, nobody's buying food anymore. So we were like, why keep the kitchen open until we close, right? Let's just close it early because there's no revenue being made. So once you have a good POS, which is point of sale and a back office, and there's all different kinds of that. I may have to do a video on that. Again, I'm probably not experienced enough, but at least I can give you ideas what I did, because I did have one, then switch to another, is to use the analytics, to look at them, be aware of them, and let them, in a sense, dictate the course of your business, because you need to concentrate and figure out why. Why are these hours generating a lot of income? If a lot of income is being generated during this time, then you may need to do specials, do things, do whatever, do promotions. And if it's not, find out how to drive those people or get people into those times that may be dead. Okay, so that's how was a big factor in changing my schedule. Straight analytics, straight revenue. And that really helped pare down the times that I open and close, even on various days. Thank you, Giacomo. Where are we? Here we go. This is another one from Giacomo. How did you do the business plan when you didn't have the information of the cost of purchase of the merchandise and pricing? Well, Giacomo, that's a good question because you may not realize, but that information is accessible to anybody. And in part of your business plan, you have to do that, right? If you are selling retail, you need to know who are the distributors, where you're getting it from, what kind of games, what you can sell it for. Got to get shelves in the store. You got to pay your sale tax for the state. Got to get the sales license, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of work involved in the process of selling retail. But like I said, I just knew that because, again, doing my research, I knew I wanted to sell games. So YouTube, asking at conventions, other stores, other cafes, other game stores, how do you do it? And they told me they got information. The big five retailers, and again, this is no promotion for any of them, but as far as distributors in America, are Alliance, ACD, GTS, PhD, and Southern Hobby. But there are quite a few others. So it's a matter of personal preference, how much of a discount they give you. One of the big factors a lot of stores decide on is 1 day shipping. That's huge, right? Because you want to be able to call in your order by, say, 3 o'clock on Monday, and you know Tuesday when you open up or by noon or 12, that package is going to be on your doorstep so you can go ahead and sell that product. That's fantastic. So that's a huge factor in determining who you pick as a distributor. But there how you know. And then, MSRP, you just go on Amazon, or they give you the sheet. When they give you your inventory checklist from what you've ordered, they have the MSRP right there. And very important, remember, a lot of publishers now have MAP policies. All right, so keep that in mind as well. So thank you, Giancomo. Hope that answered your question. Next, how long after opening did you feel like Meepleville was a successful business? Marky, that is a great question because I literally almost every day go in there and be like, and I'm telling myself, I'm like, wow, when am I ever going to get to the point where I can walk into here and say, okay, I'm done? I just can't. I don't know if it's me, or I don't know if it's natural for a small business owner to just always have that need, that feel that you can always do better, that you always should be doing better, that you always should be or can do more. Right? Because I have that all the time. And it's a matter of adapting. What kind of crowd am I getting now? Where is the revenue being generated? Do I need more shelves for library games? Do I need more space for retail? Do I need to add more food to the menu items? Do I need to get a piece of equipment in the kitchen to cook different food? Do I need a storage solution like a refrigerator or a freezer? So there's all these different factors where, for me, it's a constant evolution. Some businesses, are cookie cutters, like, say, like a McDonald's, right? They just know, boom, you go in there, boom, they're set. That's it. Boom, they're done. They know how many hamburgers are going to produce, what equipment they need. They're all set from day one, and it's never going to change for the next 20 years. I would kind of like that, right? That would be kind of nice, right? If board game cafes were a thing long enough and successful enough where, yes, you had a market study, you had a research, you had all that stuff necessary, where there was a very established franchise where they could say, boom, here it is, opening from day one, you're kind of done. That's it. You've got your retail, food and beverage, entertainment, go and make money. It would be nice. So again, Marky, to this day, I just really don't feel like I still have a successful business. I'm always trying to improve it, get better, and grow it. And like I said, I'm not sure if it's just me or it's just a natural thing for a small business owner. Next, another one from Marky. Do businesses that fail not see the reality of their business not working out until they run out of money? I don't know. I guess, you could say the same thing about relationships, right? Like, why do people stay in a relationship so long before they realize it's over or the love is gone? I don't know why businesses, relationships, people just don't see that earlier. Because, again, remember, as I said, nobody writes a business plan to fail. So you think it can succeed. You believe it can succeed. You want to do everything you can to make it succeed. And you try. Some people may take out a second mortgage, do this, do that, and maybe go deep, because they want to continue to make it be successful. But again, video number one, conversations. Be honest with yourself. If it isn't working, it isn't working. You just have to, if you're not going to be honest or ever come to that realization, then you're going to be just getting the life sucked out of you, the money sucked out of your pockets. And yeah, it's just not going to be pretty. But I really don't know, Marky, why some small businesses just hang on and hang on and hang on because again, you do have obligations. You do have leases, so don't sign a too long lease. We'll get into that later in the year, but you don't know about that. You don't know what the obligations are, why people may have to stay and all that stuff too. Everybody could have a different story. And last but not least, sorry, I'm going a little bit long, guys. It'll be a little bit over 20 minutes, but not that bad. Another one from Marky. Again, this is the last one. And before I do answer this last question, again, thank you for these questions. Thank you for the comments. Continue to watch, continue to send questions, send comments, and I will get to them, make another video and, 4 or 5 or whatever from now to answer more. But the next video, I'll be going into the cafe and we'll be doing some stuff from there, just so you know. So look forward to that next one. So here we go. What have you done to adjust your business model in these social distancing times for a business that emphasizes social togetherness? Well, Marky, that is a fantastic question. And again, that's one that we all had to learn. Nobody had a book about how to deal with social activities during a pandemic, right? This is something every type of business is learning. Look at the major sports. Look at how they do TV shows, interviews, everything, anything that involves interaction, we have to learn on the fly. So what did I do? Well, I had to be dictated by the CDC, the state, and the local government. It was that simple. That's what dictated how my operations ran. Because I was closed for 6 weeks, then I was allowed to be open to do curbside pickup only. Then I was allowed to be opened under the restaurant clause, because I do have a restaurant license. So I was able to have people come in and eat. And then they kind of changed it, right? Because people realized, that's not too healthy. People eating all that kind of stuff, no masks and all that. But so then they had the mask mandate and all that kind of stuff. So now here are the basic guidelines I have to go under now. We have to have a mask at all times when you're in the store. And I tell people too, hey, if you want to drink, you literally pull down the mask, take a drink, put it back up. You should not be talking without your mask on. That's rule number 1. Same thing with eating. Eat, put your mask up, eat, whatever, boom. 6 people to a table is the maximum that the state is allowing. We still have to maintain social distancing with tables as far as where people sit. I still have to be at 50% capacity for my business itself. However, it has affected the general dynamic of Meepleville. Like I've talked about in pretty much all these videos, I think I've mentioned the fact of how my heart and soul is about the social interaction, is about the entertainment part, is about getting people together, and I can't do that. No fault of my own, it's just what it is. So like I can't have our Wednesday night meetups. Our Wednesday night meetups were fantastic because people, that was built specifically for brand new people to town, for singles, whatever, to walk in. We'll get you into a game. We'll introduce you to people. We had a big werewolf game, sometimes 2 werewolf games, all these things to guarantee a person walking off the street by themselves, didn't know anybody, would come in and leave that night having a great time and making friends. Can't do it. D&D was huge. We were doing it 2 nights. One night we got 5 to 7 tables on our big night. People loved it, but we can't do that anymore because that's a lot more us, because I'm just still a little bit of afraid of just getting random people coming in who don't cohabitate, live together, and just all these different people sitting at the same table. Even though we're wearing masks, I could, but I just don't personally. Grant and I have decided, and Trung have decided, we're not really going to do that at the moment, to still limit the interaction of just random people in an enclosed space like our store. So that's just a personal choice we're kind of making too, but it still is in line with the CDC requirements and all of that. But yeah, I get calls every day. We get a call at the cafe, at least 1, if not 2. Hey, is D&D happening? Hey, can I come in? Hey, can this or that? Because there's a lot of people, especially Vegas is a transient town. So we got people coming and going all the time. So they're wanting, hey, I just moved to town. I want to come in and, meet people, play games. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. it's just a horrible, horrible time right now that we're all going through. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And I hope this is something that we never have to experience again. And I hope sooner than later this is over and we can get out of these restrictions, get back to a normal life, and get back to people playing, interacting, and just get back to this great community we have of board gaming. So there you go, folks. Thank you so much for those questions. I believe I got to everybody who sent in comments and questions so far. So I think this is going to be the 5th of the video series so far. Again, thank you for watching. And remember, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, and remember to hit a like, all right, because those help a lot too. And we'll be back with you for another episode of Small Business Chronicles in the very near future. All right, talk to you soon.